escuchar la ponencia de Vikrant Bhan, Global Senior Manager Data and Analytics en Nestlé. Va a analizar el análisis de datos en una empresa tan global como es Nestlé. Thank you, Vikrant.
Artlist.io.
I hope you can hear me okay with all the noise around. My name is Vic. I'm responsible for analytics, data, and integration within Nestlé. So I hope you know about Nestlé and know about our brands. But just to start, if the ticker works. Let me start again. So I'm Vic and I'm responsible for analytics, data, and integration in Nestlé. I hope you have known Nestlé for many, many years as a consumer. We have some very, very strong brands, and Nestlé is a company all about scale. As you can see, we've been there around for more than 155 years with more than 2,000 plus brands. We have more than 270,000 employees, which are worldwide across 186 countries, with 354 factories and close to around 90 billion of sales. Every single day, Nestlé is selling 1 billion Nestlé products. So that's the scale at which Nestlé operates, okay? So what do we do in Nestlé? Nestlé has a clear purpose. Nestlé has a purpose which is about unlocking the power of food. It's a purpose to protect and enhance the environment. We also are there, obviously, being a business to generate significant value for stakeholders and shareholders. So what does that mean for us in the tech department of analytics, data, and integration? How do we unlock the power of food? Is by developing a better consumer understanding. So imagine all you consumers, you have different tastes, and I see a lot of young people here, so you all have very changing tastes to the people in my generation, potentially. And we need to understand that, and we need to innovate on our products with the help of analytics, and with the help of data, and with the help of lots of integrations. At the same time, we have a big footprint on the environment. You know that we have lots of packaging, we have a lot of CO2 emissions from our processes, and we need to be able to measure and predict that so that we can have an influence on the environment. This is a very, very noble and important cause for our planet as well, which is why we help in ensuring that. At the same time, by delivering products which are meant for business to generate more value, either through growth or through optimization of our processes. And in order to do so, our mission and our vision is that in Nestlé, every single decision and action is powered through trusted data. And that's what I'm going to tell you a bit of the story, so it inspires you for becoming Jump2Digital and working in analytics, data, and integration. How do we do this? There are some very important key ingredients in order to bring this entire thing together. For example, we need to first and foremost understand what our business needs and what are the needs from our categories and our businesses. Nestlé is a very, very big enterprise. We have so many different brands and categories, and we need to understand what do they really require for us to support them. That's where a very critical role, and this is important for you guys to understand, comes in, where people who might be shifting their careers from a business role into a digital role, there is a place for them, which is about doing business translation. If you understand processes, if you understand business, you can translate the needs of the business in order to understand what kind of use cases and what kind of portfolio of analytics can you actually support them with. Once you have done that, you need to also be able to understand from all these different use cases and different business questions that need to be answered, what's the different data that you need to bring together. And I'll show you some real examples of how we do this. So once you have those data, you need to piece it together, you need to engineer that, and that's where our data architects, our data engineers, and lots of such profiles who are building those products as data products come in, okay? But how would you do that without the core technology? So you also need to have the core technology. And in order to have the core technology, today we need to empower with the cloud with many other technologies like machine learning and all those kind of advances that are happening in technology, that you can actually unlock that power through the data and through the analytics. And for that, you need profiles such as platform architects, cloud architects, solution architects, who are piecing together the roadmap of how do you bring those things to life. So as you can see, it's not just one single discipline. We call at Nestlé that this is a multidisciplinary sport, and it's like you need to bring all these people together, which is why there's a lot of opportunities also for jobs and career within this area. Once you have defined that, what is also important in a company which is 155 years old is you're able to explain to our businesses and our stakeholders what's the art of the possible. And that's where the data literacy aspect comes in. So we actually have people who are ensuring that they can train, they can educate, and they can actually explain to people what is the art of the possible. And that's another kind of a profile that we have typically in our teams. If you get all these ingredients of a recipe, and I'm obviously saying this from coming from a food company, is that you will be able to record excellent results on business value, excellent results on data excellence, and also ensure that your products and your services that you're delivering are bringing a lot of adoption and usage. And that's what I really mean by people excellence. This framework is something that you can keep in mind when you're thinking about where you want to take your career, especially in this area of data and analytics. It's not just about being a data scientist or just being about an ML engineer. There are many, many different, let's say, roles that are bringing together this entire story. Okay? Now, let me tell you some of the cool things that we do to bring that framework, which I just shared, to life. And I'll show you some real examples as well. So the first one here is about revenue growth management. I have a video to show you on that, and I'll take you through it. So I'll skip that one. More stores, better stores. You know Nestlé, pretty much if you go to any of the stores in Barcelona, you will find Nestlé products there. But that's not the only channel that we operate. We have direct-to-consumer channels, we have e-commerce, we have all these different channels. If you have been on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure you guys buy a lot from Amazon, when you buy something, you see a recommender model telling you what else you can buy. That's fine on an e-commerce channel, but now think about in Asia, where you have a little mom and pop shop, or in Latin America, where you have those little fragmented trade. You can apply the same algorithms to actually make that kind of an assortment decision for those mom and pop stores. And that's the kind of stuff we do through data in this initiative, okay? If you take a consumer lifecycle value, we want to know everything about our consumers, not in a scary or a privacy-threatening way, but to understand what kind of things do they like. We want to understand how are they actually potentially liking or not liking our products. If they are liking our products, are they subscribing to our channels? If they are subscribing to our channels, are they potentially repeat customers? And then also looking at potentially why are they churning. So there's a lot of analytics, as you can see here, creating new consumers, potentially understanding why consumers would leave. And that kind of analytics is what you call consumer lifecycle value. Greenhouse gas performance management. This is about, we have a very, very complicated end-to-end value chain in Nestlé. You can imagine we source our materials, and as we have a lot of food products, we might have dairy coming from milk products, we have cocoa, we have coffee, we have palm oil. So from the farm to the fork, there's a big value chain. And in that value chain, we are generating CO2 emissions at different stages, right at the point of sourcing it, but also in our production, in our transportation, in our logistics. And what we have done with this entire ecosystem is we are able to track for every single part of our value chain how much CO2 emissions are we actually deriving. Because once you know that, you can start taking decisions based on that. For example, when you are purchasing some kind of raw material, are there certain areas or certain suppliers from which, when you buy, you're going to potentially reduce your CO2 emissions? And that's the kind of effect that we have on the environment. And this is becoming quite critical in today's time when everybody, including all of you and me, are becoming very conscious as consumers to see how we do not affect our planet. There are many other examples here which are focused on, for example, procurement hedging and volume forecasting, or factory energy optimization. These are all the things that you would typically do for optimizing your end-to-end value chain. But apart from that, there are also new business models. Nestlé, like many other companies, is trying to expand its different channels and route to markets to consumers. It's maybe now, as a shopper, you're not just going to a shop. You might be going to a food aggregator. You might be going to the Deliveroo or any of those kind of channels. So how do we maybe optimize that entire ecosystem? And I said in my title, I'm also leading integration. So if any of you have aspirations in analytics and data, also be aware that there's the whole field of integration, which is very, very critical for understanding how to build digital ecosystems for different business models. And that kind of integration architects and integration skills are also required in a company like ours to make those ecosystems come to life. Now I'm going to take you with a real example of how do we do pricing analytics.
To enable our pricing analytics solution, we have integrated all data assets, whether internal or external, into our data foundation, so we can leverage millions of data records real-time at scale. The pricing optimization tool allows the user to understand, ideate, and simulate the impact of different pricing scenarios. The tool starts by providing a high-level executive overview of performance for us and the category. From there, we can proceed to understand the market landscape, looking at our performance versus key competitors. First, we have the price ladder, which helps us understand pricing in the market for us and competition. Second, we have the pack price piano, which allows us to look for white space in our portfolio in terms of pack sizes by comparison with the category. Where we see gaps in the category or in our portfolio, this represents a possible opportunity that can be investigated further. Third, we have the pack price curve. Usually, the pack price curve is quite smooth and downward sloping as we trade pack size for price per kilo. The tool allows us to slice and dice the data to review the curves for both ourselves and the competition. This allows us to identify any distortions in the curve. These distortions can form the basis for future change. The tool also merges our internal data with external market data. The internal custom summary allows us to interact with this merged dataset. In this example, we are looking at margin contribution, average price, and volume. By interrogating the data across our portfolio, we can see that we have a long tail of SKUs that is not driving the P&L. We can formulate different scenarios to change this. We could increase our prices, we could discount less, or we could simply remove SKUs. We can run simulations to evaluate all of these scenarios. The essential ingredient of being able to run these scenarios is the measurement of the elasticities, which are derived from the machine learning models built by our data scientists. This tells us how responsive different products are to price changes and how they interact with one another.
So the example you just saw here is what we call the revenue growth management. So as you can imagine, when you go as a consumer to a particular shop, you are looking at the prices of different products, right? Just imagine the science of actually setting up those prices. You think that that price is going up and down, and that makes a decision for you as a consumer. There's a lot of science and there's a lot of art that comes into it. I wanted to show you a practical example because if you think about it, just getting to that pricing decision is not quite simple. You have to actually collect a lot of different data points, like external data on what your competitors are doing. You have to look at your sourcing data. You have to look at your own internal data and external data. You have to look at how the sell-out data is being used. And that all has to be pieced together. Once that is pieced together by data engineers in the group, then on top of that, data scientists come and they build models which are called price elasticity models. Once the price elasticity models are constituted, there is a visual person who comes and builds a dashboard that you just saw over here. And that dashboard is then used by the business, and there are people in there who are called business insight experts that are actually helping tell the story to the business so that that action or that decision can be taken. So as I could just explain with this example, there are lots and lots of different roles and lots of different profiles that are part of this one single example that I showed you, which is helping us make better pricing decisions for the company.
We have developed with our data engineers and data science team this new proprietary solution, Plan IQ. It allows business users to understand and simulate the impact of various sales drivers using our models and estimating the marketing saturation curves in the background. In self-service mode, users can play with multiple optimization scenarios on their investment plan. For example, if I hit run optimization on this Milo campaign, I am getting the optimal investment allocation for my next plan. Users can also apply growth target, and Plan IQ will generate the recommendation. For example, if we play with a growth target in revenue of 10%, the tool will give back to us the recommended investment change as well as the optimum allocation to reach that target.
So the example you just saw there was actually an optimization or a simulation example. It's in the area of marketing investment. In Nestlé, we spend a lot of money on marketing, like many other companies, to make our brands become stronger. But as a lot of the brand investments are going on digital channels, today we are spending all that money on all different kinds of digital channels. And to make that money, the money back for the company, you have to really understand what is the return on investment on each and every marketing channel. And in order to do so, again, like I said in the pricing example, you have to combine a lot of data. Just for the digital media investment that we do, it's 24 different data points. You need APIs, you need to connect it into a data lake. You need to then do modeling on top of it, which regresses that into ROI engine. And that's actually used to do marketing effectiveness. Again, it's a mix of roles. There's no one single person that can do the entire process. So that's something I keep on saying through all my slides. And that's what I'm trying to cover here. If you look at our organization in Nestlé, which is doing analytics, data, and integration, these are some of the profiles that you can see we have within our team. We have product managers who are managing products like marketing ROI, like pricing analytics. We have data scientists. We have those insight specialists who are helping with the decision making. We have data engineers. We have data product owners. We also have master data specialists that are harmonizing all of that data. And we have architects in solution as well as platforms. And not just in one location, we have them across our global locations. So in Nestlé, one of the unique things obviously is that you're not just working for one single country or one single market. You're working in a hub for multiple markets and multiple categories. And that means you also need to learn a little bit about how to potentially work with other cultures, how to work with partners, how to actually work with offshore developers. And that also becomes part of the skills that are required for becoming successful at this particular art. So with that, I'm just going to end by saying what makes us a bit unique in Nestlé with how we do things in analytics, data, and integration. We obviously have a very value-driven approach to it. This is very critical. I see sometimes that there are people that are working in this area, but they don't know what's the purpose behind what they are doing, right? They're just doing the coding, they are doing the data engineering. So it's important to understand how value is being driven through these projects. We also have a very standardized ERP core, one of the biggest in the world. We have a very strong and standardized information architecture. We have a future-ready and secure enterprise technology for analytics and all kinds of integration platforms. We also have enabled freedom in the framework. So this is one thing quite critical, that it's not just the people who are doing the job, but even people in the business can actually start using that. And finally, because we are such a global company, we are such a scale company, you have an opportunity potentially to work cross-domain and also look at different categories when you're working in a company like Nestlé. So finally, if you are interested, based on what I just showed you, into careers, here's a QR code, and you can look at that in case you are interested in jobs in Nestlé. Thank you.